Shortwave Radio.
The Chinese president met with Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif in Beijing. Xi Jinping's called on the two sides to advance the construction of the China-Pakistan economic corridor with greater efficiency. He also welcomed Pakistan to expand its export of high-quality agricultural products to China. He said China will provide additional emergency assistance to help Pakistan in post-disaster reconstruction following devastating floods. Sharif said Pakistan hopes to deepen cooperation with China to advance its own development. Feng Xiao has more.
Meeting at the Great Heart of the People, Chinese President Xi Jinping said the visit gives fresh momentum to what he calls an all-weather and ironclad partnership. He said both countries should jointly advance a global development initiative in building a community with a shared future. Over the past decade, a China-Pakistan economic corridor has been in the works. It's a flagship project under the Belt and Road Initiative, of which Pakistan is one of its first member states. Xi told Sharif that China remains willing to support Pakistan in safeguarding its sovereignty and territorial integrity. He said China also supports Pakistan's efforts to revive agricultural production after deadly floods this year. Sharif spoke highly of China's achievements under Xi Jinping and congratulated him on the success of the 20th CPC National Congress.
China's central bank has signed a memorandum of cooperation with the State Bank of Pakistan to establish renminbi clearing arrangements in Pakistan. It says the arrangements will help enterprises and financial institutions in the two countries conduct cross-border transactions using the Chinese currency. It says the move will also further facilitate bilateral trade and investment. A Chinese policy bank has rolled out credit support for imports from countries that are members of the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. The Export-Import Bank of China says it set up a specific credit quota worth 200 billion yuan, or roughly $27 billion to cater for the financing demands of importers. Russia says it will resume its participation in a deal to free up vital grain exports from Ukraine after suspending its involvement over the weekend, a move that raised fears of exacerbating a global food crisis. The Russian Defense Ministry said on Wednesday that thanks to the involvement of the United Nations and Turkey, it had received written guarantees from Kyiv not to use the Black Sea grain corridor for military operations against Russia. The move follows a phone call between Russian President Vladimir Putin and Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan on Tuesday, and repeated conversations between their defense ministers. Russia had suspended its involvement because it said it could not guarantee the safety of civilian ships crossing the Black Sea following an attack on its fleet there. Ukraine claims this was a false pretext. Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has placed 4 regions of the country under a state of calamity due to severe tropical storm Nalgae. Marcos says the move will speed up rescue and relief efforts. The 4 regions are Muslim Mindanao, where more than 1.4 million people were affected by Nalgae over the weekend. Nalgae is one of the most destructive cyclones to have battered the Philippines. It triggered flash floods and landslides in many parts of the country. The government's reported at least 132 deaths as of Monday. China's central bank governor says the country's economic growth rate will remain in a reasonable range. Yiga made the remarks during the Global Financial Leaders Investment Summit, hosted by the Hong Kong Monetary Authority. He said China will continue its structural reforms and opening up policy to further boost key areas such as agriculture, green development, and smaller companies. He also said the exchange rate of the renminbi will remain stable. China's market regulators approved the establishment of a joint company owned by China Unicom and Tencent. Unicom is one of China's 3 major state-owned telecom operators, while Tencent is one of the country's leading internet-based private companies. The move is seen as part of a mixed ownership reform scheme that China designed for large SOEs. A group of lions briefly escaped their enclosure on Wednesday morning at Sydney's Taronga Zoo. Zoo Executive Director Simon Duffy said the group included 1 adult lion and 4 cubs.
The lions are observed in a small area adjacent to the main lion exhibit, where a 6-foot fence separated them from the rest of the zoo.
He said everyone on the site was moved to safe zones. 4 of the lions made their way back to their main exhibit, but 1 of the cubs had to be tranquilized. The zoo said the lions are now in a back-of-house holding area while a full review continues. And that's the news. I'm Shane Vega.